Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to another wonderful day of learning at School 17, where learning is fun. Also, welcome to Mr. Stein's channel, Can't Have Heart Without Art. I know you guys are home this week, so I'm making a bunch of new video lessons for you guys to work on. Also, don't forget to log in live and in person, so to speak, to continue your art classes with me online on Teams. This is a simple, multi-layered winter lesson for landscape. Remember, we've always talked about our layers of foreground, middle ground, and background, and overlapping. So this is what we're going to work on for this lesson. I've pre-sketched a little bit, and I'll add more details with you guys, as always. I'm going to use a black marker so you guys can see it better. Make sure you're holding your pencil or marker properly. Pinch your grip. Front, not in the back, so you have more stability. Arm on the table, elbow not up in the air. You are not chickens, so no chicken wing holding. And otherwise, take your time. Turn your paper to landscape mode, so to speak, which means horizontal. And the first thing you're going to do is make your horizon line, which separates your ground from your sky. I like to make it curved because it makes it a bit more interesting to me. I'm going to skip the tree. We'll overlap that a bit later. I'm going to do my easier layers first. So, this is the ground, this is the sky. I'm going to make some overlapping layers in front of the sky. I'll start with some simple bushes. There's really no wrong shape to use. You can squiggle them, you can make them straight, whatever you would like to do. But vary the sizes and make sure they're overlapping and touching a bit. It adds a bit more of an interesting look to your project. So that's your first layer. These are bushes in front of what's going to become a little mini city, and then behind what's going to become a large tree. Now I'm going to use different shapes to make my city. I'll use rectangles, squares, semicircles, diamonds, cylinders, triangles, rhombuses. The more shapes, the better. I'm just going to build. So I'll start with some easy ones. A tall rectangle. I'll split it and add some little windows. Down here, maybe I'll put them into rectangles instead. Kind of like archer's windows in an old castle. Up here, I'll add rectangles or triangles to give me that look. So rectangle with a triangle point. Put a little small rectangle up here and connect them. Maybe I'll add a nice kind of trapezoid up here. A semicircle and a small triangle to add a little tip to my building. And then I can decide what else I want to add, what other shapes I want. Take your time, overlap as you can see, make things go behind other buildings or in front of other buildings. And be creative. There's no wrong way to do this. It's entirely what you want to do for your city. You can do this, you could add more, you could add less. It's really your choice as the artist. Now, one thing I will do is I'm going to add a large tree overlapping my entire image. So it looks like the tree is really close to me and I'm looking past the tree to look at this whole image. I cannot erase the lines, but when I color, most of them will disappear. I'm going to start at the bottom and go all the way to the top. And then I'll add some large tree trunk area, and then some smaller offshoots, some smaller rectangles to create smaller branches. I can overlap like this, or I can go behind my building if I prefer. Overlapping does not have to be in front, it could be behind as well. The more branches I add, the more complicated it gets. So that depends on what your comfort level is. So I've added some basic branches, some big ones, some small ones to my project. If I used a pencil, I would have erased this area right here and this area right here. Now, if I want to make this a winter project, I'll leave the ground white like snow, and I'll add mostly color to the buildings, the bushes, and the tree. And if I want to make the sky pop out, absolutely the sky. You could use pastels, you could use colored pencils, you could use crayons. For this, even though I know most of you don't have it at home, I'm actually gonna use a bit of chalk because we've used chalk in class, but you could certainly use crayons or anything else you have available. First thing I'm gonna do, since it's right in front, is I'm gonna make the tree. You can really pick any brown you like, depending on what you have available. I like a nice warm, bright brown. I'll hold my paper still. And I'll fill my tree in a bit like this. It's okay if I go outside my lines a little bit because I can erase the chalk or I can smudge it a bit. The chalk will not overlap to the point where it covers up my Sharpie marker, but as this is a demonstration lesson, that is okay. Take my finger and smooth it out to get that nice chalk pastel look. Some people call them soft pastels. I call them chalk pastels. Either one is correct. Now, I can make different types of greens if I want for the bushes, if I want to keep it realistic. If I want to make it more creative, maybe I'll put blues and purples in the bushes. I'll keep it realistic and pick a couple of different greens. And then again, smooth it out a little bit. If I want them to pop out a bit more, I could find kind of a darker color to go on the edges. So maybe kind of like this really dark bluish green. Will give it a different look. You may or may not like that, so of course, really your decision since you're the one coloring. If you want to pop out a bit of a darker edge can certainly give it that more contrast that you might like. And you can do that with crayons, color pencils, anything you want, even markers a little bit. Remember, markers don't blend, so don't be shocked. And I'll leave this one without it just to show the difference. Now you have to decide what you want to do for the sky and for the buildings. Remember to try to keep your colors to the point where they pop out a bit. So if you're using a lot of green down here, I would not use green anywhere else. But for example, maybe you want to use some nice purples and blues in the sky. Make a nice kind of beautiful, not quite sunset, but wintry mix. So maybe I'll take some blue. And I'll put the blue down first. I'll add a bit of purple in some spots because I can blend that in as well. And maybe some nice kind of bright pink will add a bit of a pop to the sky. I'll pick and choose where I want that. You don't need a ton of it, but just enough to make certain areas pop out of it, right? Maybe mostly around the buildings and not much more. Or maybe a tiny bit towards the bottom here. And then kind of blend it all together and then decide how much more you want to add. And again, it's okay that I'm getting chalk kind of into my building. Chalk is erasable, so when I'm all done and ready to do my building, I can just take my eraser and erase what I want. What's cool is I can even do that like this. Say I want to add like some little snow. I can draw into the chalk and make little accents. You could also do that by drawing on top. So I can make it look like snowflakes coming down or like a wintry mix. Other things you can do, you can add darker shadows. So say you want to make your tree look more realistic, you can add some shadows. To start to get more of a three-dimensional look. Same with down here. I know there's a bit of smudging on my snow. I can even add a tiny bit of a kind of like a blue to it. And if I want, I can even smudge that in a bit. So there's a lot of different effects you can do. That's what's great about art. You can keep on going and going until you like the way something looks. If you're happy with it, you stop. If you say, something's just not quite right, you keep on adding something else until you're happier with the outcome. If I want a little bit more, I can always add a little bit of black as well. Just enough to, again, add a bit more contrast. And again, little by little, it builds up. Inside my buildings, I can really go any colors I want. You can go darker, like it's more of a shadowy building. You can make it pop out, like it's an old Renaissance building in Italy with gorgeous colors everywhere. Or the cathedral in France. So you've got lots of choices to how you continue. You can make the windows glow, for example, like it's nighttime and the lights are on inside. And then go darker around it. So again, you really have a lot of choices when it comes to coloring. Have a bit of fun, try something new. There's no grade right now, so don't worry about that. Give it a try and be creative. You've got nothing to lose by trying something new. I'm not gonna finish up here just because I want you to have some ideas of what you want to do and not just copy me, but see how I can erase any of these smudges that I don't like. So just a reminder, art is not about perfection. It's about creativity. It's about being willing to try something, not worrying about failing, There's no such thing as failing as long as you try. What's the worst that can happen? It's why we have an eraser. It's why we have fingers. There's always something you can do to modify. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. Take it easy. I'll see all of you guys in class again soon. As you can see, simply not the same without you guys. So come back soon. Bye, guys.